I'm going to be talking about how do you get customers into your story. You that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing now for over 40 years. Yes, it hasn't killed me. And I share a lot of what I've learned in my journey on these live calls. I started in this business totally broke. I sold a junk truck to get started, put $200 into my business, and that was how I got started. The last 27 years, I have been full-time in network marketing. So if you want to know more, listen and learn, and I hope it gives you value. You know, I was looking over at some of my notes, this 5-day business mastery with Anthony Robbins, 2,200 people there, $10,000 a ticket. And we get a book with that. That's important, isn't it? You better get a book. You better get more than that. All right, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so I was going over, I just remember one day we were going over how to create raving fans, you know, just crazy customers that just love what you have, love what you do. Pamela, nice to see you. You know, how do you do that? What do you do to do that? And what is a customer? I'll tell you, that's a very debatable subject with people who don't like our profession so much, you know. They don't, you know, some of the people out there don't feel like if you've opted into the business opportunity, certainly you could not be a customer. Why would customers ever do that? Anybody who loves a product, why would they ever want to promote it and be involved in the business? I have no idea. Man, I tell you, common sense has gone out the window with some of these people. But here's the thing. You know, if you're one of those that would like to create raving fans about your customers, that was the one thing that we talked about one morning. And, you know, one thing Tony Robbins said was that, you know, you have to, he said this, I'll just quote it. He says, you have to add more value to your customers than anyone else does. The more you're able to add value to your customers, the more you dominate the marketplace. So, having said that, and that is so true. So the key words are, how do you add value? How do you do that? And here's the next question. Who is your customer? And different perspective on different things, right? And you've already heard me mention that some people say what it can't be, but we know for the fact it truly is. And in network marketing, customers are both internal and external. How many of you use your products? You know, I use my products every day. I went to the gym today. Before I went into the gym, how many? I probably took 5 different products before I went into the gym. I couldn't be a customer. Okay? So first of all, if you know, we got to get focused on the fact that when it comes to these two different types of customers, both internal, external customers take a lot of work to get and money sometimes, especially if you're advertising, if you're spending any money on social media. I know one leader that spends over $10,000 a month so she can get customers. Internal customers don't require that. Maybe a little time, and that's it. But it's mostly system driven. And that's the difference between the two. So if you're a leader or you have leaders in your organization, and we're going to talk about them first, that's your internal customers. Those are your most important customers. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because if you lose them, you're screwed. You are totally screwed out of your business. Totally. Because why? Because they create a network. These are influencers that ask people, they're enthusiastic about their products. They talk to people about either buying or joining. They build the network to do what? To move thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars across that network to people across states in the United States, to other countries. They are the movers and shakers. They are the people that make it happen. But you know what? They're also the most underappreciated people. It's always the external customers, that companies want to focus on. How do we get them? How do we get them? Well, how do you keep what you have? How do you keep your drivers? That's the question. Because here's the thing, there's a lot of companies out there, right? People don't have to stay. They can leave. They're not locked into contracts. Most are not. There's a few companies that, and I would never do that. I would never sign with a company that ever says, when you get to this position, you're locked in for life. You can't leave. What's that Eagles song, You can check out, but you can never leave? No way. I would never, ever join a company like that. It's amazing. You go out there and you make these men rich, these owners, and they want to lock you in. Excuse me. I'm bringing a lot of business to you. I'm an independent contractor. That's what I am. That's what we all are. So the thing about it is, we know the movers and the shakers are the most important people in your business. And so therefore, and we can rightfully call them customers, because if they're not customers, I'll tell you, they're not going to promote. If they're not passionate about the product that you have, they're not going to promote. Matter of fact, they're not going to do anything. When they wake up tomorrow, your company, your business is not on their minds. So we want to keep them very passionate about the product and what that product is doing for people. And I'll tell you right now, if you're not passionate about your product, get out of your company. Two things is going to happen. You either got to find a way to get passionate about your product. Find a way. There are ways. You've got to reconnect. Maybe you've been away from company events and things like that. So, you haven't been in the household of faith to get inspired by what you're seeing, what's going on. Or you're not connected in a Facebook group where you see the stories. That's the thing. You can rekindle that passion. You can. And if you can't, then you might as well get out and find something you can get passionate about. Because I'm going to tell you, you got to lead from the heart, not the head. You got to lead from the heart, because people listen to the heart. They don't listen to the head. There's a lot of intellectual people out there, and they can be very scientific and very, sound very smart, and they want to impress people. But people aren't buying. They're not buying that. They buy what comes out of the heart. So that's the thing. So when it comes to these internal customers, what do we got to do to keep them around the campfire? What do you got to do to keep your leaders raving fans? That's the thing. A lot of times we don't think leaders should be raving fans. That should only be customers. How dare our leaders be raving fans of our products? What's the world coming to? Even in a company, they want to distinguish the two. So the thing about it is, number one, treat them like royalty. That's the first thing that I find with leaders. Make them feel very special, because they are very special. They're very special. Think about it. They've opted into joining with you. Now, you don't have to pay them. They're not your employees, right? But they're willing to go out and make you money. I'm amazed at how many people out there will treat their downlines like crap. Treat them like crap. Treat them like employees. I'm up, you're down. No. Yeah, I can give you a little time. Earn your money. Amazing. Amazing. So the thing is, treat them like royalty. Find out what products your leaders are using. I remember back in the 1990s, I called a guy and he was complaining about the business, how things weren't going. And I was listening to him, and as he was negative and all that, and I asked him a question. I said, yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm listening, but just a question. How many products do you have in your house now? He said, I don't have any. I said, that's the problem with your business. You're selling a lie. You want people to join, be involved in the business. You're not even taking this stuff. You're not even on these products. That's the problem, because people, you're trying to sell it with your head. You got to sell it with your heart. So that's the thing. But, find out what products they are on. I told this story before. I remember one time I was in Seoul, Korea, and walked into a meeting room, and I didn't know any of these people. So I immediately was going to start talking about the product. I said, okay, it's nice to be here, nice to be with all of you. I really appreciate you being here. I want to talk about what makes this company what it is, what drives us. And it's one thing and one thing only. It's our product. And then I'll go right into the product, right? I said, I want to talk to you about the product. Then they said, no. We don't want to know about the product. We want to know about the money. How much money I'm going to make, compensation plan. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass the product around. I want everybody to take it. After you've taken it, then we'll talk about the money. I had to set the standard for what the standard is. I understood that I had to get them to be raving fans of the product if I'm going to keep them in my business. There's always another company. There's always another compensation plan, and there always will be. But here's the thing. If you don't lock them in, if they don't believe and become raving fans of your product, they're not staying with you. This is just a bus stop on the way to the airport, okay? That's all you have. And you got to know what you got. People like to live in fantasy. I don't like to live in fantasy. But if people are not coming from that center where they're passionate about their products, I don't want them in my business, number one. I don't want them in my team. I don't want to work with them. I mean, go find, and I understand whatever I have may not appeal to somebody. Somebody might come to me and I'll say, okay, so what are you passionate about? What are the products you connect to? And if it's something that I don't promote or don't have, I'll say, well, I can refer you to another leader in another company. I think that's a better fit for you. On the other hand, that leader will do the same thing for me. So I've created those kind of friendships with other people. So be passionate, find out what they're on, what products they're taking, encourage them, and this is not wine, this is water. And I could only find a wine glass when it was time to get started here. Anyway, but just do that and share their own experiences in their Facebook groups. They should talk about what products they're on. Share about it. Be enthusiastic about it. And also their customers. If their customers have some great experience, hey, I want to share with you something I just heard. Blah blah blah. It's just something cool. But that's the thing. So number 2 is communicate with your leaders. That's the second thing you want to do if you want to have raving fans. Great internal customers is communicate with your leaders, who are your most important customers. Again, you lose them, you lose your business. So they're your most important customers. Communicate with them. The quality of your business is the quality of your communication. And pick up the phone. My gosh, I mean, if it's not a phone, if it's an app, I don't care. I call some of my leaders overseas on WhatsApp. Okay? I'll message them, hey, you got a minute to talk? Yeah, okay. Pick up the phone and talk to them. A lot of leaders today have just got it down to messaging. That is so impersonal. I mean, it's just, there's no feeling or warmth in it. And sometimes even the text messages, one mistake I've made. Have you ever done this? Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'll just use voice dictator. Aren't these smartphones great? At least the iPhone has voice dictator. And I love using voice dictator, but there's a problem with it. The problem is not so much voice dictator as it is me. I don't check the message. And somebody, I'd send a message, and this has happened more than once. They say, hey man, why'd you say that to me? Why did I say what? And I look at the message, and it's got profanity in it, like telling them to take it and stick it where the sun doesn't shine, I'm like, what? I didn't say, I'm looking at my phone, I didn't say that! Crazy stuff, right? So that's the problem with, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I wasn't planning on talking about that tonight, but anyway, it's happened to me. If that's happened to you, you know what I'm talking about. And, what about voice memo? Well, I don't know. That's a new terminology, Bethany. I'll have to look into that. But still, any kind of messaging, I don't care. It doesn't carry the warmth that a personal conversation does. And that's the reason why I say the quality of your business is the quality of your communication. Talk to your leaders. I know one good friend of mine, she may be on this call, I don't know. But anyway, she's in a different company. We're good friends. But I remember one time she wanted to talk to her upline, and it was a young, nothing wrong with young people, but it was younger than her, okay? Young girl, anyway, but she just wanted a message, right? And then so she says, listen, I need to talk to you. I don't want to just message you. Oh, okay. And then as soon as she called her, then, she started yelling at her, and she said, whoa. And now I can see why you use messaging, right? You're a mess. You're an emotional disaster. What a beast, okay? So that's the thing. I'm just saying, if you look at some of the people that are going to be here the longest, do better, make more, they're people that do these things. They do these things. And the others who don't wonder what went wrong. The problem with network marketing? It's people. It's the people. That's what they think, So communication, and when you communicate, don't let it just be company announcements, okay? Don't let it be just company announcement. Hey, just want to let you know, the company's got a special promo this month. You can sign up for free. Anybody can sign up for free. Put the word out. When you call them, ask them how they're doing. How's the family? Hopefully you know the kids' names, right? Those kind of things. And if they want to talk about the business, and they feel like that's a responsibility they have since you're the upline, say, no, I didn't call you about the business. I was calling to see how you're doing. That's all. Just wanted to chat. Do I know you?
No.
What is going on in this house? Anyway, kids. But yeah, let them know that you're interested in them. That's the message. Your internal customers, your leaders who are raving fanatics. Okay? Let them know you're interested in them as a person. I'm telling you, that's how you keep them. You know how many other companies and leaders are knocking on their doors, or maybe not knocking on their doors, but, connecting with them, saying, hey, I like to work with you. They're like, wow, he wants to work with me. Boy, I sure don't hear that anymore. Haven't heard that in a long time. It's so important to connect with them. And then here's the other thing too. If problems arise with your leaders and they send you a message, I get them every day, okay? Don't take the company position, okay, and defend the company. Don't do that. Most companies, they create their own problems, okay? And this is the problem. The problem is you got two different camps, typically in network marketing. You got your corporate camp and you got your leader camp. And there's this small, tiny bridge between the two. Companies that are great, if they can create the kind of culture one camp. It needs to be one camp. But very few companies will do that. Very few. And so therefore, corporate doesn't understand the mentality of leaders. Because if they did, they wouldn't be in corporate. Does that make sense? If they really understood us, they wouldn't have a job, right? Think about it. In your network marketing company, it's true in mine, and we talk about, hey, be boss free, be job free. Can you imagine somebody going to work at your company and yelling down the hallways, hey man, I want to be boss free, job free? Man, boy, they'll shut him down fast. What? We don't want to hear that language here. That's for the other camp. Yeah, I mean, really, come on. I mean, who's got more courage? Who's got more courage? Now, I agree, somebody's got to do it. I'm glad they do it. I'm glad there's people out there that will, fill those jobs. We need those jobs. Somebody's got to manage the business side of it. But I'm talking about really, think about it. If they really believed in the very things that we believe in, why don't they do what we do? Now, some do. A few will. And I'll tell you them, and I talk to those few too. They come in this thing scared to death. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. And then they struggle with it because they're so used to being managed. So I'm just saying that there's those two camps. So when they put out and they do things that, again, it doesn't reflect emotional intelligence, and because that's what we leaders are. We're more emotional type creatures, right? And corporate is more logical, just the feelings, they just don't understand. There's not an emotional empathy, okay? Then they're going to do things that are going to upset the leaders. They are. So then you have to work it. Now, the last thing you want to do is defend it. That's the thing you don't want to do. Don't defend it. Be empathetic with your leaders when they talk to you about it. And listen. Don't think, how am I going to answer? How am I going to answer? How am I going to answer? Don't worry about that. You'll figure it out at the very end if you were a good listener. And then say, you know what? I know exactly how you feel. And then what you can do is, and then do the next thing, and that's number 3, collaboration. Ask for their feedback, constructive feedback. And then you be the disruptor in your company. Go to them and say, listen, guys, and if you don't have a ranked position where you can be a disruptor, but you never know. Disrupt anyway. What the heck? They don't listen to you. They won't listen to you, right? But then go to your upline and talk about it. Let them be the disruptor. Say, hey, so how much of these people do you want to keep, or do you just want to lose them all? What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, they made that announcement. It's upset a lot of people. So I imagine they'll be gone within a month or so. How's that going to affect your rank and your income? I have a solution, though. We got some good feedback. And if you'd like to be the disruptor, if you got the courage to go to the company, shake their tree, do it. And hopefully they won't leave. Well, that's some good psychology, isn't it? Use it. Use it with your upline. And then number 4, have some fun challenges with your internal customers, your leaders and all that. Have some fun challenges with these people. It could be, hey, let's grow. Let's set a goal of getting 1 customer this month, 1 customer this month. Well, I mean, think about it. If you had 1,000 on your team, that's 1,000 you just added. If you just got 1. But I mean, in the past, we've talked about that. Make it fun. Set a goal, for example, to have a special reward. It's going to be announced in a special group that you'll add people to in a Facebook group. You're not going to see what it is, but to get in the group, all you got to do this month is add 1 customer. You already won when they did that. You already won. And then when they join in that group, that could be the next step. Add 1 more. And then you are going to be on a very special training that would cost a lot of money to pull these people in, but they volunteer their times and services. It might be people that just they don't hear from much or something special. It's amazing how many people are willing to have you even noticed on some of my calls, I've pulled in some pretty cool people in the last 2 years and that you wouldn't normally ever talk to. Didn't cost you a thing. So ideas like that. Now let's talk about external, you know. So with external customers, that is people that you have to go out and get, right? Or people that they don't know about your products or services yet. Then what you want to do is basically you want to do what? Step one is invite them into your story. But when you invite them into your story, it's more or less that it's a psychological process of it became theirs. In other words, it was the movement was come into my story, and when they came in, they said, "Well, this is mine." You know, it's sort of funny. It reminds me of a time when I got, we have kids that come over here, and I get these electric cars, like a police car, a fire truck, and one of them was a what was that? Frozen. It was a frozen car. I mean, I just ordered them, had them brought here, and then I got a guy that works for me. I said, okay, put them together, okay? And then the housekeeper came over with her granddaughter, and she's like 2 years old. And I saw her eyes when he was putting together that frozen car. Oh my gosh. And she just went over and jumped right into it. And I said, oh, well, that car's not staying here. I said, finish it up, give it to her. That's going home with her. I can see that now. So that's the way it is. You got to do that with your customers. You're inviting them in, but when they come in, it's theirs. It's theirs. And how do you create these raving, fanatical fans and all that? One thing, just create a reality about why was your product created? Why was it created? Why does it fill a need? How important is that need out there, and how many people relate to that need? And so that's the important thing. And then when you talk to these people, you're not getting personal in their lives. You're just talking about the reality of that need out there. And they're going, yeah, that's me, man, that's me. Oh, that's you? Okay. Now they're coming into it. It's going to be their story. Oh yeah, man, I've had that and blah, 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 or, and I don't care whether it's health and wellness, skincare, it can be a service company. The thing is, they've got to come in and own it. But we simply talk about that very thing. So here's step two. Have a good follow-up system with these people. When you have customers, the best thing you can do, collect their email addresses, have their phone numbers, call them, follow up with them. I'm not saying call them every day. How you doing on the product? Next day. How you doing on the product? Next day. How you doing on the product? I'm not talking about that, okay? When you call them up, it doesn't have to be that often. If you call them once a week, hey, I'm just thinking about you and all that. So how's the gardening coming? I remember the last time. Take notes on your last conversation, okay? Oh, wow. Or how's, and you remember that you took notes of the children? Things like that. Wow, she's interested in me. She cares about me. They don't even do that at my church. You want to create raving fans? Take an interest in people. That's how you create raving fans. You want customers that will stay with you for life. They'll buy just to have a relationship with you. But get them involved in it. And I mentioned emails. I mean, again, how do you get them to, when they come in, it becomes their story, not your story. Because when you follow up with them and they're telling you about the results they're getting on that product and why they like that product, then you can say, hey, you know what? Wow, that's so awesome. Now, if you have a Facebook group and if they use Facebook, fine. Add them to your product group as part of it. But also make sure you have their email address, because if something was to happen to what, then what are you going to do? You're screwed, right? How are you going to communicate with these people? It's very important that you collect and you have an email database of leaders, customers. Maybe your company will also give you those email addresses. But when you make that connection with a new customer, get that information. And then ask them, hey, that's incredible, your story. Do you mind if I share it? They're thinking, oh my God, They're going to share my story. I'm an important person. That's right. That's how you create raving fans. Wow, everybody's going to see my story. Again, if it's in a Facebook group, I would do both. Facebook, email. That's how you create raving fans. They keep coming back. And I mean, I think about, they shared a statistic. And again, this is just like 1 hour of business mastery, the 5 days. We were talking about this, right? And one man made a comment, one of the trainers, I thought was very, very interesting, but in a way, no, it wasn't that surprising. But when you look at Chick-fil-A, do you know Chick-fil-A, the average store, and I'm looking down at my notes, yeah, that's right, 5.2 million, $5.2 million a year, the average Chick-fil-A. McDonald's is about 2.2, Burger King is about 1.1. Wow, they do a Chick-fil-A does 5 times what a Burger King does, more than twice what a McDonald's franchise does in a year. How is that possible? It's because of their culture. It's because, and get this, they're not open on Sunday like all the others. They're not open on Sunday, and it doesn't hurt them at all financially. Think about it. And I thought about that, and he talked about their culture. And I thought, well, he doesn't have to tell me anything about their culture. I know because I'm one of their customers. Every time I go into a Chick-fil-A and I go up to the counter, and then they're so nice, they smile. And you ever notice they pick the right people? They're very good with people. Very good with people. And what's one of the first things that they do after you tell them what you want? They ask you your name. They ask you your name. Wow. They want to know my name. Yeah, okay. Because they're going to write it on the drink, right? But still, you ever go to a McDonald's and they say, hey, what's your name? Burger King, what's your name? Doesn't happen. And then after they'll hand me the drink, they'll say thank you, and we'll bring it to you. You'll bring it to me? Okay. I go sit down. Sure enough, they bring it to me. Did that ever happen at McDonald's and a Burger King? And then when I'm sitting there, then when they bring it to me, they'll say, is there anything else that you need that I can help you with? I can't think of anything right now, but thank you. Sure, well, just let us know. Thank you. And then a few minutes later, they're coming back saying, yeah, is there anything that you need? Do you need any napkins or anything? No, I'm good. Thank you so much. What an incredible culture. What an incredible culture. And you would think McDonald's and Burger King and some of the rest would wake up to it. They haven't. It's amazing how stupid they are. But what a culture and how they treat you. It's no wonder I keep going back. I love Chick-fil-A. But think about it. With your customers, it's just like that. It's making them feel special. If you keep track of special occasions with them, you can send them out a card if you want to. If you don't want to spend that expense, then fine, a text message, with something special in it. Just thinking about you. You're such an awesome person. And I understand this is your awesome day, right? Things like that you make people feel so special. And then when you follow up and they want to come into your story with their story, and you say, hey, can I share that story? Send it out in an email, share it to a Facebook group, the Facebook group we're in. Can I share that? Would that be okay? Oh yeah, sure. I'm telling you, friends, it's all about retention. All these companies, they make it about their products. They make it about the products. It's not about the products. It's about the people. You can have an average product, but if you have incredible, fanatical service that you're giving people, they become raving fans. That's how it works. And you can set up a system for it. You can do that. But again, You know, when you're getting started in your business, I'm telling you, if you reach out, pick up the phone, call people, connect with people, not only in your team, but the customers that you have, just seeing how they're doing, doesn't take a lot of time. I'm telling you, it's special. I mean, it's totally special. You know, I thought it was funny one time that Tony Robbins had a customer that called him at home. Called him at home. Okay, hello, that's Arthur. You have anything you want to say? Are customers important, Arthur? Can you answer that question? That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Okay. Well, all right. So Tony gets a call, and he says, "Yeah, I just wanted to give you a call. This is Michael Jackson. I really like your product, and you know, you really changed my life. And I just wanted to know if I could see you tonight." And Anthony Robbins says, "Yeah, right." He said, because he didn't believe him. He said, "No, this is Michael Jackson. This is really true. You changed my life. And I would like for you to come tonight as my guest here in LA to my concert. And I'd like to have you and your family as my guests. So would you do me that honor, and would you come and do that?" And he says, "You have got to be kidding me." Long story short, he pulls a crazy thing about getting, you ought to have heard this helicopter story. This helicopter story meets him in a field behind his house. His two kids hopped in it. He flies to LA, lands in a field behind the auditorium. It was such a comical story and an experience. But my point is this, is that it's an impact. When you pick up the phone, when you talk to your people, when you talk to your customers, when you make them feel special, when you let them step into your story and they own it, it's their story, you share it, you value them, and they keep coming back. Now, here's the other thing. When you have this going on, then step up your game, okay? And that is number 3, when you got promotions, upsell your customers. If you have 1,000 people internally with leaders, externally with customers, they're all customers, and you can add an extra $25 upsell. If you had 1,000, you just increased your volume 25,000. I'm just using that number as an example because it's a simple number. But I'm just talking about let your leaders know, first of all, anything new, any changes they may not be aware of, something special that's going on, something special that the company is offering. They need to know about it in order to promote it. But then you do too. You can do that through your email. You can do it through, of course, text messaging. Again, if you're on the phone, you're talking to them, tell them, let them know. "Oh, John, I forgot. I'm glad I'm talking to you because we got a special promo that's going on. I just want to let you know about it. It's really it has a lot of value. It's a great deal." So let people know about that. So, here's the thing that we got to understand is that people have choices out there. They don't have to buy your products. And really, what's more important, again, you can have an average product, but if you have incredible fanatical service where you're pouring on the value to that person, they're going to stay with you. That's called retention. In the absence of that, you're going to lose a lot of people. And that's what you don't want. So those were just some thoughts I wanted to share on how to create raving fans. But again, your most important raving fans are your internal customers, your leaders. Make sure that they're using your products. Share, and I'll tell you leaders, when you're around your people, they need to see you using your products. They shouldn't be shocked, right? They need to see you using your products and talking about what you enjoy about those products. Because it could be some products that they haven't, if you've got, let's say if you got 30 products in your line, 40 products in your line, they haven't tried everything. Maybe they've only used a few. And that's why I'm a big believer that when you sponsor families, don't sponsor individuals. If I sponsor a man, I want to sponsor also his wife, his children. I want the whole family being raving fanatics for the products. Why? Well, the wife might like it a whole lot more than the husband. She might be a raving fan over your skincare, but he was buying your cardio product or maybe a protein product when he works out. But she's really the raving fan. Of course, they love their children. They love their health more than they do their own. How could they be so selfish? And it'd be irresponsible not to have their children on healthy products, right? Okay? So that's why it's important when you sponsor people and you're sponsoring in the business and you want to create raving fans, make sure that you ask about the family, ask about the wife. What are any challenges she's going through? What are some of the needs that she has? Ask that, to the husband, okay? Or if it's the vice versa, if it's a woman, the man. And then how many, their children. Do you have products for children? So those are things that you want to think about, because again, when they come into your company, they need a picture. If they buy one product, is one product going to tell them everything about what your company's about? How can you create raving fans that way? I'm just giving you advice on this. I'm a big believer in this. I'm not saying, well, just front end load them with $1,000 of product. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about make sure that you have a sizable order that is going to address the needs of a family, not an individual. And that's how you're going to create a raving family of fans. Imagine the multiplicity in that and what the numbers could be if you taught it that way with your team. And again, it's about filling their needs. It's not about sales. It's got nothing to do with sales. It has everything to do with filling needs. And if it fills a need, great. You did your job. So those are my thoughts. I will stop there, and then I will share something tomorrow. Anyway, that came out of Business Mastery, but that was some thoughts that came out of Business Mastery that I appreciated. And those are things that are highly overlooked in our profession. But everyone, listen, have a great evening with your family. If you're in North, South America, if you're in Asia, on the other side of the earth, then your day's just beginning. So go out and create some raving fans, okay? And if you haven't talked to your leaders in a while, the people that are your drivers, pick up the phone and don't talk about business, okay? Just see how they're doing. And I appreciate everyone being on tonight. Love all you guys. Talk to you soon.